Bacchus, aka Dionysus, part 7, the Yeshua connection. This symbol right here is the same as this symbol right here. The ribbon that you saw on the last symbol is the serpent. The pine cone attached to the rod is the grapevine. The pine cone is the forbidden fruit which the woman in the garden consumed. It was to women whom Bacchus first taught how to press grapes. It was to them that Bacchus taught how to extract the sacred elixir, wine, from the grapes. Wine which caused them to fall into a state of frenzy. Frenzy is a state of psychosis. They would fall into a state of frenzy or psychosis after consuming wine, which is an intoxicant. Yeshua transformed water into wine. This is symbolic of him transforming consciousness. And we know that symbolically speaking, the wine symbolizes Yeshua's blood. At the Last Supper, Yeshua's disciples consumed his body and his blood as bread and wine. To consume the blood of the deity makes one susceptible to the influence of the deity. Yeshua's blood is an intoxicant because wine is an intoxicant, but his blood is an intoxicant because Yeshua bears the blood of the serpent who came to Eve in the garden, Samael, the venom of God, also known as the wrath of God. Consuming the wine, the venom, is the antidote, is the cure for this sickness of consciousness that us humans have. You know, there's a reason why the Pharisees and the Sadducees rejected Yeshua. They accused him of being a blasphemer. They accused him of being one who perverted and made a mockery of the laws of Yahweh. Yeshua was curing the sick and feeding the poor, and he was doing these things on the Sabbath day. These are high transgressions against Yahweh. According to Jewish law, a woman who is guilty of prostitution is to be stoned to death. And Yeshua was able to turn this on its face by simply stating, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." Yeshua was an adversary. He was a life-affirming deity because the miracles which he performed, raising the dead, curing the sick, and feeding the poor, were life-affirming miracles. Bacchus was a life-affirming deity. What I noticed about King Pentheus and the Pharisees and Sadducees is that they appear to be out of touch with reality. They're squares and they're tyrants. Bacchus resists against King Pentheus's tyranny. It's like Yeshua resisted against the tyranny that he saw occurring in the synagogue and amongst his people. King Pentheus continually denies Bacchus's divinity in the same way that the Pharisees and Sadducees denied Yeshua's divinity. Yeshua is said to be seated at the right hand of his father. When Bacchus was born, Zeus stitched him into his thigh. It doesn't say which thigh, but when you stand straight up, your hands rest at your thighs. So one can argue that when Bacchus was born, he was seated at the right hand of Zeus. Yeshua taught, "Give God that which belongs to God and give Caesar that which belongs to Caesar." Bacchus was a god who was said to step lightly and firmly. Bacchus was a trickster god. He's deceptive, not evil though, but mischievous. And Yeshua is a trickster. He's got the Christians fooled because he's the son of Satan.